A little windier, a little colder, and a little wetter than it was in Jamestown, North Dakota yesterday at Rotary Field. But we have soccer. One semifinal in the consolation side of the bracket is in the books. It was St. Mary's defeating Fargo South 3-1. Now Shanley and Fargo Davies will battle to see who takes on St. Mary's in the 5th place championship game. Let's see how both of these teams got here. First for Shanley, yesterday they took on the Deacons, and early on it was Hager the Deacons scoring first with Hager. After that, it was the Magicians from Minot Schmidt scoring. That made it a 1-1 tie. The Minot Magicians tying it 1-1. That was just some 5 minutes after that first goal by Hager. It was Schmidt scoring. Again, just 4 minutes afterwards, a beautiful shot by Schmidt. After that, again, another goal for Minot. It was Anand. He would eventually get the game winner in this close battle. He scores to take a 2-1 lead after being turned away earlier in the match on a penalty kick try. It was Hager yet again. Conrad Hager scoring on the penalty kick to make it a 2-2 tie. Then in the double overtime, Anand with the game winner. And in the game between Fargo Davies and Century, it was a lone goal by Julian Wilhelm later on in that one. There you saw again the set piece earlier by Conrad Hager. In the game in between Fargo Davies and their Eagles, they took on Century. They've obviously been to the tournament each and every year since they've sanctioned it in North Dakota, all the way going back to 1995. Julian Wilhelm scoring the only goal for the Patriots. That was with 5:13 left in the first period, the winner for Century. So Fargo Davies, their head coach is Nick Christensen. Shanley Oak Grove and their Deacons, 13 wins on the season, but they were eliminated in the first round, pushed to the consolation bracket. Michael Brecker is their head coach, and our action is underway. As you watch on your monitors, moving on your keyboards, it's Fargo Davies wearing the red with the Vegas gold, and Shanley and their Deacons wearing the white jerseys with the red numerals. Weather continues to be a topic of discussion here in Jamestown. Talked to some of the tournament officials in between matches. They are very concerned that that storm that we hinted at in our first semifinal match on the consolation side, they are very concerned that that storm at 5 o'clock could be a severe one. Might see a lot of rain, maybe some lightning, but they're very concerned. They want to get this game in for certain, this second consolation game, before we move along any further. Well, we get the action underway. The Eagles trying to get an early opportunity. Looks like they might have a shot as they get it into the box. There, and a goal! A goal less than a minute into this match. It looked like Austin Peterson on the goal for Fargo Davies. A 1-0 lead just like that. Came in through the back door, and it looked like it was Austin Peterson just 40 seconds in. Take another look. I think Peterson gets a great pass from Lancaster, and it was Austin Peterson on the goal, assisted by Lancaster at the 39-10 mark. So a goal in the early going for the Eagles. 1-0 just like that. Now they might be looking at another opportunity. They'll work it forward, but back and turn away. It's hardly ever do you see in a soccer match, before I even get to the starting lineups, a goal put on the scoreboard. But 1-0 is your score for Fargo Davies. So we'll see just how quickly Shanley can respond. Take a look at the starting 11 for both of these teams, as the Eagles have it yet again. For Shanley Oak Grove and their Deacons, I mentioned the 13 wins on the season. They have their work cut out for them. Keep your eyes on Parker Simonson. He'll be in goal, the sophomore in goal. Zachary Jameson, number 16, is their junior forward. Matthew Wolbaum wears number 15. He's a junior defender as well. Nicholas Lear, number 14, a junior defender. Jacob Fritz is a freshman on that defensive core for Shanley, as they'll work it back to Simonson. He'll pop it back up towards play. Daniel Bruckbauer, very good goal scorer, makes a lot of things happen for the Deacons. Conrad Hager, senior forward, scored the 2 goals yesterday. Here's a ball loose in the box. Peterson again, another try, and he's turned away. That time he was turned away. Peterson turned away by Simonson. Also can't forget TJ Anderson in the starting lineup for Shanley, just as he was yesterday. And Conrad Hager, he scored 2 goals yesterday wearing number 6. Some players might be superstitious about losing that number after they scored 2 goals the day before, but today he dons the number 19 jersey. And why, you might ask? Well, he forgot number 6 at home. Might have gotten lost in the laundry, but maybe he was just, again, so focused on this consolation match that he did forget his jersey. So Hager wearing 19, Tyler Bossert will wear number 5, Austin Promersberger, a senior defender, wears number 3, and Aaron Seivrud, a sophomore midfielder, wears number 1. Again, their head coach is Michael Brecker. 13 wins this season for Shanley, Oak Grove, and the Deacons. Not even yet 4 minutes into this one. And a 1-0 lead for Fargo Davies. So that's the starting 11 for the Deacons. Taking a look for Fargo Davies, they were shut out last night 1-0 by Century, and their Patriots, they're starting 11 for their head coach Nick Christensen. They were 6-6 this year, 5 draws mixed in there as well for the Eagles. Dylan Bowe is their very good goalkeeper. Aaron Byer is a junior defender. He's been their surprise player this season. He wears number 3. Richard Lancaster, he got the assist on the early goal by Peterson. Lancaster is a junior forward. He wears number 7. Kalisa Endi Kubiwimana is a senior forward. He wears number 8. Arona Mukhtar is sophomore forward, wears number 9. Andrew Narod, a senior midfielder, dons the number 12. Grant Zastupil, a midfielder junior. Hunter Brackey, midfielder senior, wears number 15. Samuel Guess wears 16. He's a sophomore midfielder. Matthew Valenti, he made some nice plays. He was a player that surprised me as senior defender. He was all over the place yesterday. Fargo Davies again only allowed the 1 goal. Peterson again trying to get into the box. It's turned away, and it'll be a throw-in coming up for the Eagles. But Valenti was a surprise player for me, and Austin Peterson, obviously one of the stars for this team. He's already put 1 on the board with that goal just 50 seconds in at the 39-10 mark. Nick Christensen, also the head coach for the Fargo Davies girls soccer team. He mentioned that this team is in some of his pre-tournament conversation I had with him, he mentioned that this is a patient team, a more methodical team. They like to work with each other. Now, normally you don't think of a patient team scoring a goal some 50 seconds into a match, but they will take those opportunities when they're giving to them. And he said this is a team that really never gives up no matter the score. He's a soft-spoken man. Says he likes that reserved coaching style, doesn't like to holler or scream at his players. He likes to make adjustments when the players have input. He likes to include his players in making some of those coaching decisions. But again, recapping both of these teams' tournaments up until this point, as Fargo Davies works it into the far corner. Now they'll push it back towards the box. And it'll be scooped up nicely by the Shanley goalkeeper, Parker Simonson. Not yet 10 minutes into this one. The winner can finish as high as 5th. They would take on the winner of the St. Mary's Fargo South match. That'll take place tomorrow, maybe at 11 a.m. We say maybe because there could be a restructuring of this tournament schedule based on what the weather might have in store for us here in Jamestown, the Buffalo City of North Dakota. This is the 6th game that we brought you on the NFHS network. Our hard-working crew braving the elements for you. Bismarck won the first contest 3-2 over Fargo South. But boy, that was a battle. Fargo South really came on strong, scoring 2 goals in the last 10 minutes in that match. Our second game, it saw West Fargo, the number 2 seed out of the East, defeat St. Mary's 3-1. So that pushed them into a semifinal date with the number 1 seed Bismarck. Minot, that 3-2 win over Shanley in overtime. And what a dramatic way for Shanley to wind up in this consolation bracket. And sometimes you don't wonder if some of that might have an effect on a team. You look at a Shanley team that played more than 100 minutes of soccer yesterday. They lost in what anyone could call heartbreaking fashion, and then you come out and give up an early goal to the Eagles. You wonder if some of that is some carryover from the day before. So 3-2 was the final in that game. And then Century, I mentioned, defeating Fargo Davies by a score of 1-0. Patriots were just a little bit too physical for the Eagles, a little bit too crisp. Their defenders were outstanding all game long. For all 80 minutes, they were just smothering, suffocating defense for the Century. That'll be a fun one, Century against Minot. Minot, pretty freewheeling team. They play like they've got nothing to lose. But they'll go up against a good defensive team in Century. And earlier today, Fargo South got the 3-1 win over St. Mary's. And they'll take on the winner of this one. The loser of this one goes home. Now, whether that will be Shanley or Fargo Davies, we've still got the better part of 70 minutes of soccer to determine that. Now the Eagles with it again. They like to get the ball into the corners. That's something that the Patriots did very well yesterday. Here comes a try right into the hands of the keeper, Parker Simonson. Seen that senior forward, Andy Kubiwama, more involved than he was yesterday. Especially trying to get that ball into that near side corner, that right-hand side of the field. Another throw coming up for the Eagles. But for Shanley, as good as they played yesterday against Minot, losing 3-2 in double overtime, they don't look particularly sharp in the early going of this one. They haven't had any scoring opportunities. And of course, they gave up that goal just some 10 minutes in. For Fargo Davies, their head coach is Nick Christensen. I was mentioning him earlier on. This has been the first chance for Shanley. One of their first few chances. They played it back. That was Jamestown with it. Played back to the halfway line, and here comes the Deacons. They'll work it into the middle. That's the familiar Conrad Hager. He scored both of their goals yesterday. Today, though, wearing a different number, 19. Turns this one over, and a long pass up ahead will roll harmlessly towards Simonson. He'll throw it right back into play. Again, it was Austin Peterson scoring first for the Eagles. Lancaster the assist. Have made it 1-0. Started this match off with a bang. And Jamestown again. It's Dylan Bowe. First chance he's had to get his hands on the ball. How good was he yesterday, Dylan Bowe? For these Eagles, keeping Century to just one goal is quite an effort. Even though they came up short in the match, when you keep the back-to-back defending champions and a team that's never missed the state tournament, and you hold them to just one goal, your defenders, your goalkeeper, they've done something right. Now Eagles winning this ball with Peterson. He'll work it ahead. That's a nice pass up ahead. They might get a shot at it, but coming out of goal is Simonson to scoop that one up. But for Nick Christensen, the head coach for the Eagles, he's been their head coach since the school opened 4 years ago. Fourth season the Eagles have had this varsity program, and in just those 4 years, it's their second trip to the state soccer tournament. So good consistency, the building of a strong program. I mentioned he's also the head coach for the girls soccer program at Davies, and he led them to a third-place finish at the 2013 state tournament as well. So Coach Nick Christensen has had a good fall with the girls team, taking them to the state tournament, as well as the boys team. Long shot goes over the crossbar, and it'll be a goal kick coming up for Shanley. not bad. You take both of your teams into the state tournament. For the Eagles, I mentioned 6 wins on their season. They started off with a pair of draws. Their first win actually came all the way in late August, August 29th, as they defeated Fargo South. And lost a couple of matches, had a draw mixed in there as well, before defeating Moorhead out of Minnesota by a score of 2-1, did the Eagles. Another draw, defeated, got on a little mini winning streak, defeated Grand Forks Red River by a score of 3-1. Mandan, who had a tough finish to their season, 3-1, before falling to Minot. And then the remaining the 5th and 6th wins on their season, a win over Shanley Oak Grove and Grand Forks Central. So the Eagles have done this before. They defeated Shanley back on the 26th of September, not so long ago, by a score of 3-1. And now they hold a 1-0 lead. So 26 minutes to go. Shanley working hard to get it out of their defensive end. See the size difference there. Peterson trying to get a leg on the ball. Instead, though, Shanley will work it up ahead, but the Eagles defenders are there to turn it away. And it'll be a throw-in now for Shanley. Those Eagles uniforms, again, I mentioned it yesterday, it's not red and gold. They're very specific about that. It's Cardinal red and Vegas gold. Very flashy is Fargo Davies. Now they'll work it back to their defenders. They'll chase it down. 25 minutes left in this first period. I think one of the real questions I mentioned too, Shanley, how badly do they want this win to go on and play again tomorrow? This was a team that came in with awfully high expectations. They were the #1 seed out of the East, played 100 minutes yesterday, and lost really a heartbreaker. You saw that Conrad Hager, he was laid sprawled out on the middle of that turf for an awfully long time after that upset. Michael Brecker, their head coach, is entering his 7th season as the Deacons head boys soccer coach. He was assistant in the program's 3 year priors to that. So on that Shanley sideline, you have a decade of coaching experience with that program. You've seen plenty of players come and go, but also this team that he has in front of him today, he's seen them come up through the ranks in soccer. Now Shanley trying to get an opportunity with Hager, but the Eagles are all over him. You can just tell that they are all over Hager. We haven't seen Daniel Bruckbauer yet. He did sustain an injury in yesterday's game. Don't know if he's well enough or not to go. I'd imagine he is a little bit beat up. Oh, there he is now, back in. Bruckbauer, so he is healthy enough to be playing. That's good to see and huge for Shanley, because that duo of Hager and Bruckbauer, very effective goal scoring combination. Fireworks early in this first period, but not many scoring opportunities since then, really, for either team. Lots of play in the middle half of the field. In the middle third, if you will, if you wanted to break it up into 3. But that's not surprising. Both of these teams have good defenses, especially the Eagles, but Shanley as well. They pride themselves on playing some good defense for Coach Brecker. In fact, Coach Brecker on that Shanley sideline, he's brought home some hardware in recent seasons, as the Eagles do now get it into the corner. Might have something cooking with Peterson in the box, and the Eagles will play it back towards the sideline. A throw-in coming up for the Eagles. Coach Brecker was the Coach of the Year in 2010 and 2012, so 2 out of the last 3 years. Coach Brecker has brought home that Coach of the Year award. There's a shot on goal, it's high. So the Eagles missing just high over the crossbar. And their goal came 40 seconds in, as it was Peterson scoring. Austin Peterson, definitely one of their star players. Taking a look for both of these schools at their state tournament pedigrees for Shanley. They have now appeared in the state tournament 7 consecutive seasons. No whistle on that play. They'll let him play on as Bruckbauer will work it ahead. 7 straight years, though, for Shanley that they've appeared in this state tournament. They did have a 4-year layoff, 5-year layoff before then, appeared back in 2000 as well. But since then, 7 straight appearances in the state tournament for Shanley. Runner-up finished last year as they were bested by Century by a score of 1-0. So they were the runners-up last season, a 4th place finish back in 2011, a 3rd place finish in 2010, placed in 2009, and won it all back in 2008. Did Fargo Shanley, and that was following a 3rd place finish back all the way back in 2007. And of course, for Fargo Shanley, I've mentioned Conrad Hager an awful lot. 2 years ago, it was Cameron Hager from Fargo Shanley was the player of the year, the outstanding senior player, I should say, for the Deacons. He's not the only player, though, who's won that award from Fargo Shanley. Tyler Bosch won it all the way back in 2000. So a couple of outstanding senior player awards have been given out to Fargo Shanley. For Fargo Davies, some of their recent tournament history, it's not much. A 6th place finish back in 2011. That's their only state appearance, so this is just their 2nd appearance for the Eagles. But right now they're holding on to this 1-0 win. So should they win this and then win again tomorrow, they would have to play against St. Mary's. It would be their highest finish ever in the state tournament. And here's a shot and a goal. A goal for Fargo Davies. Makes it 2-0. The goal is scored. Looked like it was leading the charge. Aaron Beyer on the shot. We'll get a look at it on replay. But right now it's a 2-0 match. Fargo Davies makes it 2-0. We'll check the replay momentarily. I think it was Aaron Beyer connecting. The first goal was Peterson. Either way, right now it's a 2-0 lead, and Shanley appears a bit shell-shocked. Take another look at this goal that made it 2-0. Yes, a long shot from out of the box. It was perfect. No chance for Simonson, and I believe it was Aaron Beyer. So Aaron Beyer makes it a 2-0 lead for the Eagles. With 19 minutes left in this first period. Now an injured player down. They'll stop play and take a look. That was some outstanding shot. Caught me off guard, in fact, did Beyer, so no surprise it caught Simonson off guard as well. They'll take a look at the injured player. Looks like it's a injured Eagles player. They'll get a look at him. Maybe could we take another look at the long goal by Beyer while they attend to the injured player? Here it is again. Beyer, you'll see he's well outside of the box. Defense caught a bit flat-footed. He gets a look at the goal and just rifles one in. Good attempt by Simonson to keep it out. But Fargo Davies, a 2-0 lead. Austin Peterson scored first. Beyer scores about 20 minutes thereafter. And right now, the Eagles in the driver's seat. Still plenty of time left. They're taking a look at the injured player, but definitely in the driver's seat after goals by Peterson. It was assisted by Lancaster, and then Beyer connecting on the long one. 19:24 left in the first period. Looks like the injured Eagles player is up, and he'll be helped back to the sidelines. And so we'll get play back underway. For the Deacons, I mentioned there you have a loss earlier this season to Fargo Davies, 3-1. Right now our score 2-0. But for the Deacons coming into this state tournament with 13 wins, they had high expectations. Those wins over teams like Fargo South, Jamestown, Grand Forks, Red River. And remember, they had that 8-match winning streak that stretched from August 22nd all the way till September 10th, defeating Grand Forks, Red River, Grand Forks Central, West Fargo, Fargo Davies, and Fargo North, as well as Grand Forks, Red River, before a draw with Minot. So really a 9-game stretch, actually a 12-game stretch that they were undefeated. The winning streak, however, was just 8. Minot a draw, a 7-0 win over Crookston of Minnesota, a 1-0 win over the Saints from St. Mary's before falling to Moorhead in Minnesota by a score of 2-0. So that snapped a long undefeated streak. Again, there were a few draws mixed in there, but still the same, a good long stretch of soccer for Shanley Oak Grove. And those teams can be so dangerous in a tournament format. Here's a long shot well outside of the box. This time, though, it goes long. Finished their season, did Shanley Oak Grove, not in the best footing. They lost to Fargo Davies on the 26th by a score of 3-1. A tie with West Fargo. 1-1 was the score in that one, and then a 4-1 loss against win, I should say, against Fargo South. Which, by the way, Fargo South, our first team eliminated from this tournament. They were eliminated by the Saints from St. Mary's. So we started with 8, we're down to 7. After this, there'll be 6 teams left. Question now is, can the Deacons generate some offense? They really haven't had any offense to speak of. In fact, they haven't had any good opportunity. There's the one corner kick, and Hager had it in the middle once as well, but really Dylan Bowe, for as hard as he had to work yesterday, has really had a pretty easy cruise through these first 23 minutes or so of this first period. And weather is the story. Taking a look at some of the radar, looks pretty free and clear. We had a little sprinkles move through in between games, but the weather experts insisting that later on in the early evening hours there could be some more severe storms that make their way through Jamestown. I know the main concern of the tournament directors is getting in the second consolation game. Free kick coming up for the Eagles. They get it into the box, but a whiff, as it was Robert Rapp taking a stab at it. Now Rapp will work with it in the corner, try to work it back towards the body. Splits the defenders, gets a pass in for Peterson. And oh, did he score? Did it hit the upright? He did not. It was that close to being a 3-0 lead for Fargo Davies. And I'm not sure that Simonson, the goaltender for Shanley, even got a hand on it. I think he was saved by the upright. Let's check it again as Shanley dodges a bullet. Yes, it was. Even with that spin, it looked like it could have just as easily ricocheted into the goal. It bounces back out, and Shanley dodges a 3-0 bullet. And for Austin Peterson, he nearly had his second goal of this first period. And it's hard to know without being on the sidelines. It really is, but you see the opportunities that the Eagles are getting and the 2 early goals. Now you see another turnover, but it looks like, it just seems to me that Shanley has the look of a team that was a #1 seed that fell in the quarterfinals right now. Hard pressed to say that not being on the sidelines, but just an awful lot of good opportunities for the Eagles. Here's another shot on goal. They're waiting for it. It was Simonson, his easiest save of the day. 15 minutes left in this first period. Look at this, though. Another turnover by Shanley. Not their best day passing the soccer ball around. I'm sure their head coach, Coach Brecker, Michael Brecker, is going to talk to them about that at the intermission. Just too many turnovers in their own third. Their defensive third has not been able to get the ball ahead to Bruckbauer or Conrad Hager, who, if he goes scoreless in this game, will never wear the number 19 again. He'll want that old number 6 jersey he forgot back at the laundromat. Bruckbauer will work it ahead. Nobody home though. Chased down by Davies and their Eagle defense and their goalkeeper Dylan Bowe, who hasn't had much duty in this first period. One or two shots on goal, but none too threatening. Now it's the Deacons with a throw-in. Should we play later today, we'll have you covered on the NFHS network. Bismarck scheduled to take on West Fargo at 5 o'clock. And Minot and their Magicians take on the Patriots from Century, the back-to-back champs, at 7. If I had to say, those games are probably doubtful that we'll get them in today, but should the rain hold off, that is our schedule as it stands right now. As soon as we hear of any changes, we'll make sure to relay them to you. Again, not only has Shanley not scored in this first period, but they haven't had any chances in the box either. They're just struggling to get through that Eagles defense. They had a chance, and now a whistle. As from behind, it was Spencer Jacobson on the run into the box. He'll have a chance at a free kick for the Deacons. And it will be Conrad Hager to take it. You might be saying, that's number 19, that's not Conrad. It is. Number 6 jersey left behind. So Hager will tee up a free kick in what will be the best chance of the day for Shanley. He lets it fire, and it's high. Just over the upright. Dylan Bowe went up to get it, but the shot just missing high. A good chance for Conrad Hager. Remember, he came up empty-handed on a penalty kick yesterday, scored on another one. He had 2 chances at it, came up with one of them, this time off of the set piece, that free kick. This is just high. But finally some life out of the Deacons. Deacons with it again. They'll work it back towards the center circle. Bruckbauer ahead for Hager. Now he turns it over, taking another look at the close miss by Hager. We'll stick with the play as the Eagles might have a chance. They work it ahead into the box. Coming out for it is Simonson. Inside of a dozen minutes left in the first period. Loser goes home. Winner will play for 5th place in this 2013 tournament. For the Eagles, it would be their highest finish ever. For Shanley, I think no matter where they finish on this side of the bracket, probably a disappointment. They had such high expectations coming in with 13 wins, including some wins over some powerful programs. Throw in coming up for the Deacons. Thrown in by Jacobson. Now ahead, and a shot will go high, and it also tailed off wide as well. That was Jacob Reinholtz getting a stab at it. Normally it's Bruckbauer or Hager. That time it was Jacob Reinholtz, just a freshman, getting some so valuable experience in this state tournament. Missing just high and wide. So goal kick for Fargo Davies. You can see they don't appear to be in any great rush with that 2-0 lead. Sure, they'd be more than happy to take a 2-0 Eagles lead over the number 1 seed into the intermission. The Deacons trying to get possession of that ball as Reinhold's in there battling, along with Spencer Jacobson as well. The Deacons again have had a couple of opportunities. We saw the shot by Reinholtz, also the free kick from just inside the box that Hager sent high over the crossbar. The 2 goals, in case you're joining us late so far for the Eagles, Austin Peterson 50 seconds into the match, and then it was Bayer connecting 20 minutes after that to make it 2-0 Eagles. Coach Nick Christensen, had a chance to speak with him yesterday as well. He's a soft-spoken guy, but evidently back in the day he did a little bit of broadcasting, so he can appreciate the sport from that side of things. Although I did ask him if he ever did anything other than soccer, if he ever ventured into any of the other sports, and he said no. Soccer guy through and through. But he told me he likes coaching an awful lot more than broadcasting it. Deacons watch this one roll out of bounds, and it'll be a throw-in. Not so fast. The Deacons thought they had the throw, and that was Matthew Wohlbaum, who thought he was going to have a chance to throw it in. The ball actually belongs to Fargo Davies. I thought that looked a little questionable, if you will, but he gives the ball a spike, and Davies will throw it in. 8:33 left on that game clock. All played ahead, resting on that sideline. We'll see who comes up with it. Right now it's the Deacons. And they will send it back towards Jacob Fritz. Now again, Shanley working ahead with Wohlbaum, but that defense for the Eagles, of course, now leading 2-0. That defense can pin their ears back, stay put. As the rain is beginning to fall again here on Jamestown. If you're just tuning into the broadcast, the story of this match and this day in Jamestown, here's a long crossing pass. The header will go head towards the corner, but you can see the umbrellas starting to come out as well. But earlier in the afternoon, of course, the forecast all week long has been for a lot of rain, both today and tomorrow. Earlier today, there were thunderstorms. We had a lot of lightning in the area. In fact, some of the lightning strikes were very close to this rotary field here in Jamestown. There was a lot of rain, thunderstorms. They stopped right before our 1 o'clock kickoff. Those rains stopped. The field was in good enough shape to play that first semifinal in the consolation bracket. St. Mary's got the win. But it was forecast that rain would return around 5 o'clock in Jamestown. It's beaten that by about an hour. But then again, we were talking the heavy stuff might be coming at 5 o'clock. This is a pretty light sprinkles we're seeing. They'll definitely play on through rain. It's lightning that the tournament officials are the most concerned about. And in talking to them, it sounds like the North Dakota policy for this state tournament is a half-an-hour break for each lightning strike that they see. So if there's lightning in the area, we'll be stepping aside on our coverage. So far, we haven't seen any, just the sprinkles. Always you deal with the weather, especially in the fall and in this part of the country. I mentioned the blizzard that wiped out the WDA tournament in Mandan. Some 30 inches of snow falling. For Fargo Davies out of that East, they would have been the 3 seed no matter what the year or the blizzard in Mandan, because the East always seeds into this tournament by way of their regular season standings. Now, in contrast to that, though, if you were talking about Shanley and their Deacons, they came in as the 1 seed, and Fargo Davies as well would have as well, both of these teams out of the East. So it's the Western teams that would have been affected by that WDA tournament that got wiped out. They seed into that 1, 2, 3, 4 based on regular season standings, and then based on how that tournament comes out, they seed their state finals. Can Shanley get one or two chances here with just 5 minutes left? This time it's Hager launching one well out of the yard. The Eagles will have a goal kick.
Here we go, White.
4:32 left. Really 4.5 minutes for Shanley to ask themselves, can we get one or two more tries? Again, they played so hard yesterday and said, now here come the Eagles. They might get a chance at this just outside of the box. Nifty footwork, trying to find Peterson in there. Now they will loft it towards Peterson. I don't think he got a shot at it. They'll take another from a bad angle, and a nice defensive play by Shanley. That was a great job by the Shanley defender. He came up, laid a head on it, knocked it out of bounds. It'll be a corner kick coming up for Fargo Davies. So smart defensive play. But as you can see from that angle, the umbrellas are out and the rain continues to fall on Jamestown. Now the corner kick. A low rolling kick that'll be taken by the Shanley defenders. Not a great strike off of the flag, but the Eagles force yet another turnover. That's been the story of this game, is Shanley just can't maintain their possession on the ball. The Eagles are winning each and every 50-50 ball they get a chance at. Another throw-in coming up for the Eagles. Being tangled up is the defender for Shanley. That was Austin Promersberger. And it'll be Shanley's ball. They'll work it ahead. Peterson will try to chase it down, and with the rain falling, that field, no matter how good of a surface it is at this rotary field, with fresh rain falling on it, it will become a little bit more slippery of a track. And the rain is picking up. Just 2 minutes left in this first period, but we know from talking to tournament officials, they are going to try desperately to get this first match in, especially with a 2-0 lead for Fargo Davies. They don't want to suspend it. They don't want to postpone it till tomorrow. They want to get this in, and if need be, play the semifinals and the finals tomorrow. In fact, there are some scenarios that have been worked out where maybe they would not finish the consolation side of the bracket. Perhaps they would just play the 3 matches tomorrow. The forecast for tomorrow isn't for as much as far as wind is concerned, but it's supposed to be much cooler in Jamestown and windier. Wind hasn't been too bad today. Rain for the most part falling straight down. Even earlier today in the thunderstorms, the wind really wasn't a factor in the match between St. Mary's and Fargo South, which if you missed it on NFHS Network, St. Mary's got the win over Fargo South, dominating fashion, a 3-1 win en route to going to the 5th place finals. Just a minute left in this first period of play. Shanley will send this one over the sideline. So a throw-in coming up for the Eagles. Check that, a whistle did come out behind the play, so a free kick for the Deacons. Just 20 seconds left. See if they want to get one more opportunity. Fighting against that good Eagles defense as well as the clock, but Hager gets it in the middle. Now he turns it back, Bruckbauer with it. Makes a move and a shot on goal but it's kept out nicely. Dylan Bowe has been so good all tournament long. He makes yet another save, and he'll wind us down towards the final bell of this first period. Fargo Davies, a couple of goals in this first period. We'll take a look at them as we go to halftime. And it was Austin Peterson just 50 seconds in, scoring off of his right foot, a great shot. And then it was Byer 20 minutes later, and it was Byer connecting, Aaron Byer, to make it 2-0. Rain will fall on Jamestown. Right now it's a 2-0 lead. The Eagles over the Deacons. One of these teams will be heading home at the end of 40 minutes of soccer. 40 minutes left. You're watching the 2013 North Dakota State Boys Soccer Finals on the NFHS Network.
You're on TV. What? You're on TV. Hey.
welcome you back to Jamestown, North Dakota. As you can see, the weather situation has gotten more severe than anticipated. The weather was supposed to roll into Jamestown and the Rotary Field around 5 o'clock. A severe thunderstorm has rolled through. Play has been suspended at least for a half an hour. The wind has really picked up. Sheets of driving rain has forced the fans back into their vehicles. The teams are back onto their buses, and lightning has suspended play as well for at least a half an hour. That's when a determination will be made on whether or not to pick up play on this very stormy and wet Friday in Jamestown, North Dakota. There you see it again. Right now, Fargo Davies, a 2-0 lead over Shanley and their Deacons. 2-0 your score. One half is complete, and nearly as the buzzer sounded for halftime, that's when the sky let loose with this torrential downpour. So once again, you're watching North Dakota State High School Soccer Finals on the NFHS Network. I'm Matt Nelson, the rest of our crew. Again, we have to mention Justin Moss and Matt Murtis working hard, braving the elements so that you can enjoy this soccer coverage. We will step aside at least for a half an hour, and if we get any news from tournament officials, coaches, whoever it might be, on whether or not there will be any more soccer play today, I think right now that's a very slim possibility of that happening. We will update you on that as soon as we can, but for now we will step aside, and we thank you again for tuning in to North Dakota State High School Soccer Finals on the NFHS Network. And your eyes do not deceive you. Rotary Field in Jamestown, North Dakota. The sun is back out. A severe thunderstorm moved through. We had lightning, we had thunder, we had an awful lot of rain. But again, I stepped out momentarily. The field is in great shape. Went out and took a look at it. This field is in impeccable shape. No puddles, nothing like that. It's a little bit wet, obviously, as you might expect. But we're ready to get back to some soccer. Fargo Davies and their Eagles taking on Shanley Oak Grove and their Deacons. You saw the score just briefly there. Fargo Davies right now a 2-0 lead, and just like that we are back to soccer. It's the second half of play as we are back underway. We're trying to bring you all four matches today here from the Rotary Field in Jamestown. Of course, right now we're on the consolation side of the bracket. 5 and 7 o'clock kickoffs scheduled are on the championship side of the bracket. Bismarck to take on West Fargo, a 5 o'clock kickoff for that one, and Minot taking on Century. That will be a 7 o'clock kickoff, weather permitting. Right now we do have some threatening skies off to our, I believe that's the north, and but right now sun and no rain taking place right now at our Rotary Field. Again, unfortunately, I'm no weatherman. I wouldn't know a wall cloud from St. Cloud, Minnesota. But right now, good enough to play some soccer. And a throw in for Shanley. They were thoroughly dominated in the first half. Fargo Davies not only scored twice, but they also had the bulk of the scoring opportunities. It was Austin Peterson scoring the first goal of the match some 40 seconds into it. And Aaron Byer scoring the second 20 minutes thereafter with about 19 minutes left in the match. And that's how you see that 2-0 lead here in what is game 6 of our potential 11 games that we're bringing to you on the NFHS Network. Not even yet 2 minutes in. Shanley will try to work it ahead. That's Bruckbauer trying to get an opportunity. And he will put it on goal, and a save. The rebound shot is off the upright, and now a goal. A goal is scored by Shanley 2 minutes into the second period. There is life. It looked like the man who finished it off was Jacob Reinholtz. The first shot came from Bruckbauer. I think it was Reinholtz, though, who finished it off and cuts the lead for Fargo Davies in half. So a goal just 2 minutes in, and the first goal of the second period. Take another look at it. The first shot from Bruckbauer was saved. The second shot, and it actually deflected off of the upright and then off of the body of Reinholtz. Jacob Reinholtz scores for the Deacons. And you always do wonder when there's a long stoppage in play, and I don't know how long our halftime was because of the rain delay, something about a half hour, something like that. Of course, the team that always is more concerned about that is the team that's winning, the 2-0 lead. Shanley got a chance to go in and lick their wounds on the bus in the parking lot, and all the fans as well retreated into their cars. And when a throw in coming up for the Eagles, they do switch sides. The Eagles wearing their maroon and the Vegas gold. And Reinhold's on the goal unassisted. Now Reinhold's again with it. He got wiped out just outside of the box. Boy, he went running into a brick wall in the form of Matthew Valenti. And a free kick coming up. Bruckbauer will chip it ahead into the box. The header, not quite there. It was so close. It deflects just wide left. The header try off of the top of the head of Tyler Bossert. Bossert nearly coming up with a goal. Would have tied it at 2 apiece. So in these last 2 minutes, a goal for Shanley and a near miss as well. Resetting these starting 11 that you're going to see out there for both teams. For Fargo, Davies right now on top, 2-1. Dylan Bowe is their goalkeeper. Aaron Byer, their surprise junior defender. He's played an outstanding season. Mentioned he scored the second goal as well. Richard Lancaster, look out. Here comes Bruckbauer. A shot and a save. Bruckbauer, though, another chance. And this time he cashes in. The second time is the charm for Daniel Bruckbauer. The senior ties it at 2 apiece, and within 2 minutes, I believe, this at the 36-minute mark, it is Bruckbauer tying this game. Pair of goals for Shanley here in the second half. The Deacons have come roaring back. Let's see it again. It was Bruckbauer applying the pressure. First, a great save by Dylan Bowe, but then that second chance was a perfect one for Bruckbauer. Just like that, we have a tie soccer match. I don't know what was said on that bus by Michael Brecker, but whatever he said seems to have worked, and that long rain delay seems to have taken the wind out of the sails out of the Eagles from Fargo Davies. Now can they respond? They'll work it ahead, trying to find Peterson. The defenders, though, are there for Shanley. I was running down the starting 11s for both of these teams. Dylan Bowe, the goalkeeper, you just saw him surrender the goal to Bruckbauer. Aaron Byer, the junior defender. Number 7's Richard Lancaster, a junior forward. Kalisa Endi Kubiwimana, the senior forward. Where's number 8? Arona Mukhtar, the sophomore forward. Andrew Nara, the number 12, the senior midfielder. Franz Esterpil, the junior midfielder. Where's number 13? Hunter Brecky is a senior midfielder. Samuel Guess, a sophomore midfielder. Number 19 is Matthew Valenti. He's very active as a defender. And Austin Peterson, the midfielder, scored the first goal of this match. He wears number 20. And for Shanley, who surprisingly, it only took 4 minutes of this second half, has tied it at 2 apiece. They've got Aaron Syverud out there, Austin Promersberger, Tyler Bossert, Conrad Hager wearing 19, not 6 today. He left Old Faithful number 6 back home in the laundry machine. Daniel Bruckbauer wears number 7. Jacob Fritz is a freshman defender. Nicholas Lear, a junior defender. Matthew Wohlbaum, as well, a junior, wears 15. Zachary Jameson, the junior forward, wears 16. Parker Simonson is in the net, and T.J. Anderson wears number 17. Shanley will work it ahead. That is T.J. Anderson battling for possession. And it's going to be the Eagles' ball, they say, on a free kick after Anderson was called for just a little bit too much contact, according to that official. So those are your starting 11s for both of these teams. And really, neither one of them goes too deep into their bench. At least they didn't in the first period or in their first games yesterday. On what was a better day weather-wise to play soccer. Here comes Reinholtz, is turned away nicely by the Fargo Davies defender. Throw in coming up for Shanley. Bruckbauer will get it in quickly, but he can't connect with Tyler Bossert. Now though, it is Bossert with it. Work it into the corner. That's T.J. Anderson. Keeps it alive, but had no angle. Nope, they say it went over the end line. Goal kick for Fargo Davies. And their very good goalkeeper, Dylan Bowe. If you're just tuning in, you might be looking for that 5 o'clock kickoff. That would be in about 15 minutes, but we're running behind a weather delay at the half in this second semifinal of the consolation bracket in between Fargo Davies and Shanley. But weather permitting, we will be bringing you that semifinal. Bismarck and West Fargo right here on the NFHS network. In what would be the 7th game from Jamestown that we've brought to you. Hope you're enjoying our coverage. Seen some exciting matches. But earlier today, it was a dominant effort by St. Mary and their Saints. St. Mary's getting a 3-1 win. Anderson almost lost his footing. Again, it's a wet track out there. And now he will surrender it, but it's out of bounds, but a throw in coming up for Shanley. So St. Mary getting that win over Fargo South earlier this afternoon. They will play in the 5th place championship game tomorrow, an 11 a.m. kickoff for that one, bright and early. A chance turned away by the defenders for Fargo. It looked like Bo Dillon came up a little bit injured on that one, and we saw him making his way back to the bus as well at halftime. He wasn't getting around too good. Of course, goalkeeping can be a dangerous endeavor, as we've seen yesterday with a couple of goalkeepers having to leave the game because of injuries. The other action that we've had so far in this 2013 North Dakota Boys Soccer State Finals. Yesterday it was Bismarck, the #1 seed out of the West, defeating Fargo South. They leave the tournament with an 0-2 record. Fargo South tied it at 2-2 with about 7 minutes left, but it was Hunter Johnson, the leading goal scorer in the state of North Dakota, scoring that goal to give the 3-2 win to Bismarck, so they advance. The Demons go into the semifinals. Now the Deacons trying to get a chance. Bruckbauer will send it back. It's turned away by the Fargo Davies defender. Now fighting for it again is Bruckbauer. He'll send it back for T.J. Anderson into the middle. Popped up, and the defense for Fargo Davies stands up to the challenge.
There you go. Good play, James.
Whistle behind the play. Not sure if there was an injured player or a foul. It happened behind the action.
Yes, coach.
But it'll be a free kick for Shanley. So Bismarck was able to grit their teeth and get that close 3-2 win. And I mentioned Fargo South, after losing to St. Mary's, they're the first team eliminated from this tournament. They leave with an 0-2 record. Loser of this match will have that same mark. Still just under a half hour left in this one, with 30:33 on that game clock.
Okay, White, let's go.
And the free kick for Shanley on the way. Popped up. There's the Fargo Davies defense waiting for it in the box. They'll turn it back. And Shanley will have to take another crack at it. We'll see if they'll get it. That's Bossard working it ahead, and Bo Dillon will chase it down. No harm done. So that was game one yesterday. Bismarck getting that close win. West Fargo, convincing win. They're going to be all that Bismarck can handle. West Fargo, the #2 seed out of the East. They played the #3 seed out of the West. St. Mary's. Here's a long shot by Shanley. Well over the crossbar. Goal kick for Fargo's Davies coming your way. So the #2 seed in the East, West Fargo, taking on the #3 seed St. Mary's, it was a 3-1 win that saw West Fargo go into the semifinals on the championship side of the bracket to take on Bismarck. And that brought us down to the nightcap in the bottom portion of that bracket. And what a thriller it was. It was a marathon. Maybe marathon is the more appropriate word rather than thriller, as Minot and the Magicians got a 3-2 win in double overtime over Shanley and put the Deacons in this very consolation game. 3-2 was that final score, again in double overtime, and that game-winning goal for the Magicians. Hard to not make a pun that they found some magic late in the second overtime. It came with just 2 minutes left to put them into the semifinals, and then it was Century, the number 2 seed out of the West, defeating Fargo Davies, the team you see here, by a score of 1-0. The Patriots back into the semifinals, assuring themselves at least a finish as high as 4th. Whistle did come out. Yet again, a foul and a free kick will be coming up. Free kick for Shanley. Just outside of the box. And again, right now, both teams have played one good period. Who wants to break through and kind of get that third goal, that icebreaker? We saw Fargo Davies score 2 in the first. Shanley scored a pair in the second. The free kick knocked down by Bo Dillon as they went all the way to the goal with it. And Bo Dillon was ready. Bicycle kick out of bounds. It'll stay with Fargo Davies on a throw-in. It's often that you'll see a team come storming back, tie up a match, and then there'll be a few moments where these teams will kind of get back in the swing of things, get back to playing maybe a little bit better defensive soccer. As you see right there, Shanley back for Anderson. Now the Eagles with it. Again, Anderson. Now it will get into the box, but the defense for Shanley is there with a header. They'll send it out of bounds. A throw-in coming up right away for Fargo Davies.
Move, Shanley, let's go!
Now Shanley working it back. Will be out of bounds yet again, right towards the Deacons sideline. Once again, their head coach is Michael Brecker. He's brought home some hardware in these past few seasons. Coach Brecker, 2 out of the last 3 years, in fact, has been Coach of the Year in the state of North Dakota. Michael Brecker, been involved with this Fargo Shanley program for a long time. He won the award back last season when Fargo Shanley finished 2nd, and then 2 years ago as well, back in 2010, for a 3rd place finish. .26:34 left here in the second period. Not sure what the stoppage was. Maybe some issues with a substitution. They'll get them all squared away. We'll get back to play. When we do, it will be a throw-in for the Eagles. Mentioned Fargo Shanley has had the Coach of the Year 2 out of the last 3 years. They also had the Player of the Year, the outstanding senior player, back in 2011, Cameron Hager. So in each of the last 3 years, this Fargo Shanley team has had either the Coach of the Year or the outstanding Player of the Year, outstanding senior of the year, I should say. All right, back to the play as the clock will wake up. Still 26.5 minutes left in this game number 6 for you on NFHS Network. Worked ahead, a good try for the Eagles, but coming out of the goal and making a nice play was Simonson. Hard to tell who touched it last, if it'll be a corner kick coming up. Simonson did get a piece of it. It will be a corner kick. There you see for Fargo Davies. The Eagles will have a chance. Neither team has been able to capitalize on these set pieces, these corner kicks. Richard Lancaster, though, it'll be the junior taking it for the Eagles, who haven't scored yet in the second period through about 15 minutes, just under 15 minutes. Now Lancaster's corner kick. Try to find Anderson. Good job by the defense, though. Standing in there was Tyler Bossert. And they turn away the corner. Good job by Shanley. Now the Eagles, though, will send it back. Anderson got a head on it. Look out, it's loose in the box, but there to chase it down is Aaron Beyer. Pardon me, that was Austin Promersberger. Good defender is the senior. Another throw in now for the Eagles. Seem to have a little bit more pep in their step offensively than in the early moments of this second half that saw Shanley come on like a house of fire. Throw in now for Shanley. For Shanley, it's the first time we've seen Zachary Nowak. He's sophomore coming in off of the bench. Obviously a couple of injuries, and you take those injuries onto that bus. Some of those players who might have been able to play earlier, sometimes that cooling off time really tighten them down. You got to go a little bit deeper into your bench than maybe you would have liked to. Simonson will send it back into the Eagles' back third. They'll throw it right back in. Loser of this match, we'll call it a season. Just noticed on that far sideline, you can see just how severe those winds were that came through Jamestown. It looks like that tent on the Eagles sideline is a little rougher for the wear. And a foul is going to be called, and the Eagles will have a free kick. Happened out of our sight, but a foul in the back in the Shanley defensive core, and a free kick for the Eagles. It'll be taken by Hunter Brecky. Hunter Brecky, the senior, will have a chance. 23 minutes and some change left. I know the tournament officials so concerned about the weather. They don't have a rooting interest in either one of these teams. There's a nice save by Simonson. They don't have a rooting interest in either one of these teams coming down with this victory, but I'm sure they are rooting for this game to end in regulation. Because with each minute that goes by, we tick closer and closer to potentially another storm moving through the Jamestown area. Although right now it's nice and dry, just not on the ground. 22.5 minutes left. Shanley and Fargo Davies. Again, recapping it, if you're just tuning in late, it was the Eagles scoring first as a little bit of rain begins to fall. That one might be on me. I spoke a little too soon saying just how dry it had become. It was the Eagles scoring first and second. Back-to-back goals made it 2-0. Here comes a free kick for the Eagles all the way through, and Simonson is there. It was Austin Peterson scoring 50 seconds in. Lancaster with the assist on that one. And it was Beyer at the 19-minute mark scoring for the Eagles. They took a 2-0 lead into what became about a half hour or 45-minute or so intermission because of a severe storm that made its way through Jamestown. Then it was all the Deacons so far in the second period, and they did it within the first 4 minutes of the intermission ending. Reinhold scored 2 minutes in for the Deacons, and then it was Bruckbauer 4 minutes in. Since then, neither team has had great chances. The team's playing better defense. There's a shot over the goal, right over the crossbar for Shanley. This state tournament in the state of North Dakota in Jamestown this year, as you can see some of the participants for that 5 o'clock kickoff starting to warm up off in the background. So evidently the tournament officials telling those coaches they're going to at least try to get that first semifinal game underway. You know, the preference is to get all 4 of these games in today rather than make a potentially tough decision on maybe canceling a consolation match, something like that. But evidently this tournament rotates in between 4 locations, Grand Forks being one of them, evidently a very nice facility there. And Mandan, they were going to host that WDA tournament. Evidently they also have a great facility for soccer. Not so great though when it's under 30 inches of snow. Fargo is another host of this tournament, and then of course Jamestown, which is where we are this year in the Buffalo City. Field used by Jamestown High School as well as the Jamestown College. I believe they are the Jimmies. It continues to fall. You can see some of the players starting to lose their footing. Right, nothing nearly as heavy as we had earlier on in the day. It's more of a sprinkle, but the umbrellas are starting to come out. And anytime you have rain really in any sport, the advantage goes to the offensive players. Doesn't matter whether it's football or soccer or whatever it might be, because they know where they want to go with the ball. Defense doesn't have a clue, so they tend to backpedal and give up a step or two. So should be advantage offense, although in soccer, as I mentioned on our first broadcast, sometimes when that turf grows a little bit saturated with water, you can get some weird bounces on the ball, some skips, and kind of more the knuckleball. Shanley again trying to find chances. There's Hager. He got wiped out. Didn't see the official, but it rolls out of the end line. Could be a goal kick for the Eagles or a free kick coming up for Shanley. Looks like a free kick. And I don't know if we had a card issued for that wipeout. It looked like it was Peterson and Hager. There will be a free kick coming up. Hager on the free kick. The fans were definitely looking for a card, as it was Peterson with Hager. Now he'll try on the free kick. It's over the crossbar. Might have been wide of the upright as well. Fans wanted a card. It was definitely a violent collision, and especially on this wet turf, looked even more dramatic, but no card was issued. We don't believe there was a card issued on that. Did have, let's see, just the 1 red card issued so far in this tournament. That happened in our 3rd quarter final yesterday. A couple of yellows as well, but for the most part, These officials have really been letting the players dictate the action, kind of haven't had too many fouls. In fact, the only fan base that really got all over the officials was the Fargo Davies, the Eagles faithful. I thought that Century might, defensively at least, been a little bit too physical, but again, I don't know how non-biased fan bases can be. 16 minutes left, and a throw in for Shanley. The rain continues to fall. And it's deceiving if you're watching at home as well. You see a lot of the players wearing the short sleeves and the shorts, but it's cold. It's awfully cold. That ball is getting awfully hard. Surface, as I mentioned, is slippery, and really, being perfectly honest, not a very nice day to play soccer. Yesterday we had 61 degrees and sun. Today in the 50s and an awful lot of rain. Again, though, the wind really not playing a big role, a huge role. We had some wind with that storm that moved through. Here's Bruckbauer with it, always dangerous. Tried to find Reinholtz, and he took a shot at it and missed high. This is game 2 of 4 games we're bringing you today on the NFHS network. Later we move to the championship side of the bracket, as it's Bismarck and West Fargo trying to battle for a spot in the state finals. Get that one underway some 10 minutes after this one's done. A corner kick for Shanley, and it's turned away by the defense by Fargo Davies. Good job. But again, Shanley trying to get it in the box, trying to give Bruckbauer, trying to give Hager opportunities. Now the whistle does come out, and it looks like a free. No, it'll be a free kick for Shanley. The whistle going against Reinholtz. Now Shanley, though, trying to win it back right in the center circle. They cannot. Comes maybe a chance for the speedy Reinholtz. Instead, he'll dump it off. Here comes Bruckbauer for Hager. He loads and scores! A goal for Shanley. It's Conrad Hager, a pair of goals yesterday. He has his first today at the 14:47 mark. So at 14:47, a goal for the Deacons. And Hager. Hager scoring. We'll take another look at it. A nice pass for Hager, and he was able to finish it off. Really no chance at that angle for Dylan Bowe. Just too much real estate for the good, very dangerous goal scorer Hager to shoot into. 3-2 is your score. Now can Shanley, who has scored 3 unanswered goals, can they hang on? Defense for Shanley, stepping up. They'll send it back. Throwing now for Shanley again. A pair of goals earlier on in this one for Fargo Davies. They took a 2-0 lead, but since the long weather delay, it's been all Shanley. 3 goals. They might just be looking at another chance. Reinhold's with it. Turn it back. That was Nicholas Lear. Haven't called his name too often in this one. Now Bruckbauer with it. No, a foul is going to be called. Nicholas Lear, too much contact and a free kick for Fargo Davies. They'll put it in play immediately with Anderson. Now the play seems to have loosened up a bit. But momentum is a tricky thing. Looked like this was going to be all Fargo Davies. Like this was going to be all about the Eagles' day, but since that long halftime, Shanley came out and started rocking and firing goals. Now the Eagles again trying so hard to get that ball into that corner, to find some opportunities in these last dozen minutes or so to tie this up. But they'll have to be careful because Shanley awfully good at the counter and getting opportunities on the backside of that defense. See if they can find one here. Eakins with it, Hager. Always a threat now. Bruckbauer tries to go back for Hager. And he will keep it alive. He's actually muscled out of bounds. But it'll be a throw-in, not a corner kick, a throw-in, I believe, for Shanley. Nope, now they're saying a corner kick. So corner kick it is for Shanley. And Hager, here he comes. He'll get it in quickly for Bruckbauer. He lost it. And the defenders for Fargo Davies send it back towards the halfway line. A foul against Shanley. Free kick coming up for Fargo Davies. Time is of the essence right now for Fargo Davies. Now another stoppage in play as they hit that free kick without stopping it and waiting for the whistle, so they'll have to do it all over again. It'll be Aaron Byer. He scored the second goal in this one. It made it 2-0 Shanley. That was an awful long time ago in real time. Goal was with 19 minutes left in the first period. Probably some 2 hours ago in real time. There's a shot and another goal. A goal, another goal for Shanley. They've scored 4 unanswered. And who else but Conrad Hager? Now 4 goals in this tournament. He scored 2 yesterday in the quarterfinals, now 2 today in the semifinals of the consolation bracket. And a goal for Hager. We'll get another look at it momentarily, but right now the score, Shanley with the 4-2 lead over Fargo Davies. Let's take another look at the goal by 19 in white, Conrad Hager. Boy, this was some shot off of a tough angle. You saw the goaltender, Bo Dillon, came way out to go get it, and he was able to score, so 4-2 now the lead. With 10:46 left. Hard to imagine 4 unanswered goals for Shanley, as they now have a 2-goal lead, and things have certainly gotten away from Fargo Davies. It's not quite there yet. I mean, obviously there's still about 10:30 or so left. So some soccer left to be played, but you have to start thinking about potentially a Shanley St. Mary's 5th place game. And those two teams did face each other twice this year, and they split. St. Mary's got the better of the Deacons on the 14th of September by a score of 1-0, but lost to them 3-0. Shanley turns it back with just 10 minutes left. And the name of the game now for Shanley is defense, 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 team defense. Again, Austin Peterson gave the Eagles a 1-0 lead 50 seconds in. Byer at the 19-minute mark scored to make it 2-0. Then we had the long weather delay. Reinholtz, the goal 2 minutes in. Bruckbauer, and then a pair of goals by the very dangerous Conrad Hager. He leads the tournament now with the 4 goals scored. Ben Weisbeck has 3. Hunter Johnson has 2, but we haven't seen him play yet today. We will see him in the 5 o'clock game. Reinhold's ahead. Oh, and a perfect pass. Another scoring chance for Shanley. Coming out is the goalie, Bo Dillon. He comes up empty-handed, and another goal for Hager, another goal for Shanley. It is a 5-2 Deacon lead. At 8:52, another goal for Hager. Yet again, Bo Dillon came out. Hager got the better of him. And from that same tough angle, let's see it once more off to that left side. Again, it was Hager, a brilliant shot right into the middle of the twine. It makes it 5-2. So 5-2, Shanley and their Deacons now with a 3-goal lead. And inside of 10 minutes left, something rather bizarre would have to happen for them to lose. For Fargo, Davies, start reflecting on a great season. They might come up just a bit short in the state tournament, but you start thinking about some of their senior players. Guys like Dylan Bowe, Hunter Brecky, Matthew Valenti, Brady Schwab, Andrew Narot. These guys know that their high school soccer careers could be coming to a close in some 8 minutes or so. For Shanley, they looked very much like a team that played 100 minutes of soccer early in this one. They came out flat. They were not fast. Their passing wasn't very good. They took that breather and came out a whole new team. Again, if you were tuning in for the 5 o'clock match, we will be bringing that to you. Some rain is falling here in Jamestown, but we got set back from a rain delay, although we'll take rain delays. We don't want postponements. Could turn tomorrow into a very busy day, but we will have Bismarck and West Fargo for you in our 3rd game of coverage here on the NFHS network. Our entire day till this point, we got started at about 1 o'clock, has been spent on the consolation side of the bracket. Good save there by Parker Simonson. Throw in for Fargo Davies, but again trailing by 3. This is really just a matter of clock. See 6:50 left. Here's one into the middle, a shot by the Eagles, missed just wide. Looked like they had a good opportunity right in the middle of the box with an awful lot of goal to shoot at. But again, not even putting it on net. I know in talking to some of the coaches, one thing that doesn't bother them but can frustrate them at times is sometimes you'll get a great scoring chance right in the middle of the field and won't be able to convert, being a little bit too fine trying to go for those uprights. Sometimes just a good stiff kick will do the trick, especially when you have that much net in front of you. You can see on your monitors the rain is falling considerably harder than it was earlier here in the 2nd period. We just hope, if nothing else, it holds off long enough to get this 2nd match completed and move us to the championship side of the bracket. For Michael Brecker, he's going to see his team have a chance to finish at least 5th. For Nick Christensen and his Eagles, they're staring at their 7th loss on the season. Shot on goal, Simonson chases it down. Not a nice day weather-wise, but again, always have to look at the bright side of things. There was a 30-inch blizzard in Mandan some few weeks ago, so could be a lot worse, especially this time of year and in this neck of the woods in Jamestown, North Dakota. Right here on the foot of the James River. Anderson turned away by the defense, now battling for it in the box. He loses his footing. No whistle, they'll let him play on. But a whistle does come out, as it was Matthew Valenti. Too much contact on Austin Promersberger. Bismarck and West Fargo coming your way next. Weather permitting, they'll put about a 10-15 minute break in between matches and try to assess if it's worth starting that first semifinal based on the weather. I would guess they will. Rain's not coming down too bad right now. Here the Eagles now with a chance right in the middle. And just missing off of the upright. They got the better of the goaltender. Now Peterson with it. He'll lose it. Close opportunity though. Fargo Davies nearly trimmed this lead to just 2. Now they lose it. And Shanley will have a chance. The kick. And yet another goal. Far beyond the box, but another goal over the head of Dylan Bowe. It is the 6th of the match for Shanley. We'll see it again. Shanley scoring their 6th goal. And this time it looks like it was off of the foot of Spencer Jacobson. So Jacobson scores. And it is a 6-2 lead. Right around 5 minutes left. Jacobson, the junior midfielder, scores for the Deacons. And folks, keeping track at home, that's right, that is 6 unanswered goals by Shanley. Inside of 3 minutes left. Before we flip from the left side of your brackets, the consolation side, over to the right side, the championship side, Bismarck and West Fargo coming your way next on the NFHS network. Shot on goal, turned away by Simonson yet again. Looks like a corner kick coming up for, oh, pardon me, a free kick coming up for Shanley. Eagles again not giving up, still 2 minutes. Chance for some of these seniors to maybe try to score one more goal in their high school careers. See if they get a shot on it. They do work it into the box, but again, the defense for Shanley is there waiting for them. Nice play by Nicholas Lear. As we close in on some 90 seconds left, that we turn over to the semifinals on the championship side of the bracket. For Shanley, they'll get their 14th win of the season. Again, they've only lost twice, but they find themselves on this side of the consolation bracket, courtesy of Minot and the Magicians. At number 4 seed out of the West, getting the better off of that number 1 seed. Again, both of these teams came in out of the Eastern Division, Shanley and Fargo Davies. Shanley, though, was the number 1 seed. As far as upsets go, we've only had one of them, and that was the Minot win through 6 matches. Other than that, 5 out of the 6 matches have gone chalk. But again, you look back for Fargo Davies, they had their chances leading 2-0. I'm sure their coaching staff thought that maybe with the kind of defense they played yesterday against Century, they can make that stand up, but 6 unanswered goals from Shanley later, and that's the score you see in front of you right now, 6-2.
Go, Deacon!
Winding down now, one more throw in for the Eagles.
Yeah.
And that'll be the final buzzer. There it is. Shanley wins 6-2. They will head to the 5th place championship game. 6-2 again, your final score. Shanley will take on St. Mary. Let's take a look at the scoring. 8 goals in this match. The first one belonged to Austin Peterson. Just some 40 seconds in, the Eagles took a 1-0 lead. Shortly thereafter, it was Byer scoring the second goal. This made it a 2-0 match in favor of the Eagles. After that, brace yourself, folks, it was all Deacons. Reinholtz made it a 2-1 deficit as he scored. There you see Reinholtz on the rebound just off of his body. That got the scoring started. Bruckbauer tied it at 2 apiece 2 minutes thereafter. And from there on, a couple of goals for Hager. He had a hat trick, 3 straight goals for the very impressive Conrad Hager. He forgot his jersey at home, but still seems to know how to put the ball in the back of the net. He scored 3 goals, first hat trick of this tournament as well. And with 5 minutes left, it was Jacobson, the 6th and final goal. So now we go to the winner's side of the bracket, the championship side of the bracket. Bismarck and West Fargo coming your way next. For our producer, Justin Moss, our executive producer, Matt Hoover, our camera operator, braving the elements, Matt Murtis. I'm Matt Nelson. We go to Bismarck, West Fargo next on the NFHS Network.